How's it going, everybody? Welcome once and again to another match of the week. I am your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty, here today with a very special guest making his Court Martial podcast debut. My man, my boy.
Abizzle!
This is Abizzle right
up?
here. Good dude. We're going to be watching a great match today. Starrcade 1992, Sting versus Vader. This is, of course, leading up into our conversation about Sting tomorrow on the actual Court Martial podcast, but I'm staying a week over at this guy's place, so I figured I would have him tag along to watch this particular matchup with me. Now, I've got something special for you, AB.
What's going on, man?
So why don't you tell the people, in case they've never heard for the first time, what your experience is with pro wrestling, what you've been to, what you haven't, and, of course, what you've been doing with wrestling recently, a la what we've been doing.
All right. Well, shoot. I did about, oh, man, how long has it been? It's been about 13 years. About 13 to about...
Was it 2006?
About 13 to 12 years ago, I saw my first ever wrestling match was at SmackDown. It was a SmackDown event, and it was in Connecticut and down in the where is it located? It's a different theater now. Now it's like the Xfinity Theater or something like that. But they hosted this huge wrestling event, and the Undertaker was there, and he did a steel cage match. And
is that a Hartford?
No,
or the New Haven Coliseum. Because I used to run there a little bit.
I might be off. It might be near East Hartford area.
Oh, is it? It might be the Excel Center.
It might be the Excel.
Might be the Excel Center because they do a lot of stuff at the Excel Center. What I just handed him is a smiley face plate of bacon wrapped scallops.
It's
right there for you.
Face.
I've been on a cooking binge, so we're gonna have these scallops and we're gonna watch this match.
Hell
and
yeah.
This is interesting time in WCW because right now this is at the tail end of the Jim Herd era. Jim Herd, really, a lot of people blame for the true downfall of WCW even before Eric Bischoff took over because they were originally pro wrestling and they weren't so much the flashy, dashy, over-the-top cartoon characters like Vince McMahon's company was. They were more of the we're real guys and we're fighting for real, trying to keep the illusion alive, you know what I mean,
yeah.
rather than being that over-the-top, which ended up overpowering just the format. Kids show versus adults. In a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Herd basically said, no, we're going to copy WWE, but he had no idea what good concepts were, so all of his cartoonish stuff was just bad. So this was right before he was going to get fired, and then they had the interim, and then eventually that was going to lead to what ended up happening, which was Eric Bischoff taking over, grabbing Hulk Hogan, grabbing Randy Savage, and then, of course, leading on to the Monday Night Wars. So this match is... in 1992, Sting, who is WCW's really the hometown boy in a time with Sting, and Flair had left because this guy, Jim Herd, was an idiot. Mm-hmm. He wanted to turn Ric Flair. He wanted him to get an ear piercing, cut off all his long blonde hair, and be renamed Spartacus.
He should have done it.
And Ric Flair was like, no, fuck you. Ric Flair was like, no, absolutely not. And went to WWF and with WCW's world title, no less. Mm-hmm. Took it with him. I heard it on the show. Good times. Weird times. Bad times for WCW. But interesting commentary team. We got Jim Ross and Jesse the Body Ventura. I'm going to just grab the remote here as we get started. Cool. So this is going to be a real interesting matchup. AB, real interesting time in history. Real interesting moment. Where the hell did I put that remote?
To sum it up, everybody, I'm a fan of pro wrestling. I like me a good wrestling match, and I'm down here to see a dope wrestling match. And this guy, he's been throwing on some good matches, and I've been seeing on YouTube. So
this should be really nice. I do want to turn this volume down ever so slightly.
Also watching at home.
Yes. Now, for all of you, of course, what I have done, as I always do, sorry for that little close-up shot. What I've always done is in the link, in the chat, in the live replay chat, I have already put the link to this match.
Oh.
So I'm going to count you down. We're going to count this together. This is a WWE video, so expect ads. We're going to do our best to avoid that, but we will sync up the timestamps so you can get as close to us as possible as we're watching it all the way through.
Yep.
So without further ado, how are the scallops, by the way?
These are banging, man.
Hell yeah.
Really good.
All right. Here we go. Thank you, sir. All right. Now, we are starting. This is, of course, for those of you who are not looking at the live chat replay, as I've been giving you a second to go through the ads that they're giving you at the start of the video, which, they always do. So now that you've skipped them, or it's a 15-second, listen, the soap you're using, it's beep. Most name brand soaps are full of garbage. Why don't you buy mine? Because I'm the most irritating ad guy on the tab. Yeah, exactly. So now that that's out of the way, now that that is out of the way, we're going to get this going nice and steady, easy and Freddy. Who likes pie? You like pie?
Pie's dope.
I love pie. But we're going to watch this match. We'll see how dope this match is. Big Van Vader. This is before he went to WWF and Vince ruined him as usual. But that's a story for another day. So here we go. We are at 0-0-0, the match, WCW Starrcade 1992, Sting versus Vader. The account is Jared CK, for those of you who are looking it up now. And we are going to get ready here. And we're going to start this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Big Van Vader with a tremendous attack on Sting.
This is the build. Oh, this is the build-up to this match. Happened on live WCW TV, I'm guessing.
Oh, look at this Ripper. Look at this big man. Oh my gosh, he's got a freaking 2x4.
Now, pretty soon in this feud, we're going to see the Shockmaster, which was this dude who had a Stormtrooper helmet, but it was all glitter. He was supposed to bust through a wall, but the beam at the bottom was still wood, and he tripped over the beam, busting through the wall, and lost the helmet.
Wow.
Mom.
Amazing.
Look at that goatee on Jesse Ventura,
That's well
famous
groomed.
conspiracy theorist.
That's a well-groomed mustache right there. Goatee.
In other words, Sting's got to survive the first 10 or 15 minutes of the
Oh,
match.
you know what? I totally forgot to go with bar sauce.
The fatigue sets in.
Oh,
Vader's in
very
great
good.
condition.
All right,
Boss, that could backfire on the Stinger. I
Hell
think
yeah.
you take the win when and if you get the chance to do it.
The winner will receive the King of Cable trophy. The trophy and Gary Capetta are in the ring. Let's go there now. Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest
Game
is
time.
for the King of Cable.
He's game time.
King of Cable.
Woo!
What an adornment. This wrestler became the King of Cable. This was at the same time that Sting was getting help from people like RoboCop.
RoboCop. That.
Harley Race, former NWA champion. Love Harley Race. One of the best of all time, I think.
Time to go.
Yeah. Vader, back when Vader looked intimidating and wasn't booked to lose every match he was in, or get involved in drama with Shawn Michaels.
He's a one-man army.
One-man army. JR, of course, great at selling the moment. Look at this. It's a little. It's just a little better. I think it's the first time I've ever eaten while watching a match. Here comes Sting, crowd going nuts. This is Surfer Sting. This is before we got all the black and the face paint, the little like white face paint. He wore all the black and imitated the curl. This is Surfer. I'm a good guy, Sting.
Don't say any comments whether you're reading anything at home. If you get a homemade dish, y'all should tell us
Yeah.
what it is in the comment section.
You should. Even if it's just a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, we want to know. Hashtag what you eating.
It's a cup of water. We want to know. Hashtag what you drink.
Everybody should say hydrated. It's not like garlic butter, just totally amplified this.
That was a good position.
It's the King of Cable trophy.
I want to go listen to like some pasta.
Starrcade 92.
And look at Big Vader posing. I love it. Double bicep
I'm
shot.
going
Not a lot of definition.
I don't think I've ever seen Vader in a do-rag.
What Sting had long, drippy hair?
He would eventually. This is before then.
Really?
Yep, a while before that. This is 92. He didn't start doing that until 96.
I didn't know that's what Sting looked like before.
Mhm.
Wow. I'm always.
Well, that's Vader.
That's Vader, yeah.
It's
But
that man, Big Van
I thought
Vader.
Sting just had. Yeah, he had the red face, red and black.
He did,
Black
yeah, that was
lipstick.
when he was with the Wolfpack NWO.
Oh wow.
This is long before that. This is high-end babyface Sting.
Oh wow. That's something.
And here we are.
Vader talking to Smack. I do like Vader, but he was known for being a little stiff in the ring.
As we said, Sting's strategy was very simple.
Certain people didn't like
He said,
that.
I've got to survive the early minutes of the match. I've got to take Vader physically where he has never gone and make him carry that 450 as long as he can.
He's swiping at the face.
That little dude definitely is not going to overlook him, man.
And look at
There's definitely they did. I love the approach with caution with Sting because it totally elevates the way that Vader looks.
He'll be able to probably flip him.
Yeah, but it's gonna take some effort though. And Vader's so agile for his size. He was doing moonsaults, dude.
Yeah.
Playing those lefts and rights.
This is nothing.
No, look at that. Look at Vader.
Nothing.
Come on, I love that. And look at how much just back and Sting up got a reaction from the crowd, though.
Oh,
Vader scoops him up.
up and over.
Big body slam.
Look at the big smile.
Look at Harley Race.
Harley,
Harley, yeah. Trying to amp him up. Of course, Harley had been responsible for several underhanded victories.
Oh, yeah?
Even though Vader's power stood alone, of course, you know, having Harley Race on your side has its advantage. He laid it like on his hip there. That did not look comfortable.
Oh, he's go.
He tried to charge him.
Look.
And Sting's playing right into Vader's hands.
Yeah, I wish we got more of the commentary of JR and Jesse.
Yeah.
Man, JR's just so good at amplifying the moment when it needs it, and Jesse's just hysterical in color.
Oh, around to the rope.
Sting looked like a human javelin. He just speared him right across the top table. In a stun gun.
Vader like, what? What?
Drilled him right across the top rope. And Vader methodical.
Oh, no, not again. Oh, no. Oh, he won the other one.
side.
I think it's devastating. That's what I think about it. I don't know of any other athlete in the world that could
You know,
do
Ross,
that.
maybe if Sting's smart, he'll just take the count out and come back, for the final event, the Battle Bowl.
Well, that would be the act of the quitter. And he certainly is not a quitter.
But sometimes it's smart to be a quitter.
He's outside the ring.
Sometimes it's smart to be a quitter. Jesse Ventura, ladies and gentlemen.
It's never smart to be.
Sting coming back in. Right.
Smart to
And
feel
left.
like a winner.
Heavy.
Even when you lose.
Oh, he put that clothesline.
That's why Jesse's so good, because he's like, no, you should just quit. And that was pretty. That might be one of the most athletic things I've ever seen Sting do. That running, I wouldn't even want to call it a Pele,
Oh,
but
kick to the face. Right in the eye.
He caught him right in the face.
but look how much time Sting's taken in between those strikes. Really to make sure that the crowd registers it. That's something wrestlers don't do now.
Back.
Wow, what a German suplex.
German suplex to
Crowd coming unglued here for Sting.
oh, he's coming back.
Sting definitely had charisma,
Oh, he
man.
kicked it out here on the ring. Everyone's out. People freaking out. Oh, his mask came
Vader
off.
lost his mask.
Oh, shoot. He's like, oh, damn.
And now, Vader frustrated. Sting doing the woo in the middle of the ring.
He hit Vader so hard with that clothesline,
Oh, man.
it tore the headgear off him.
Oh, man.
Now Harley go back out and regroup.
Oh, he's coming.
Babyface springboard.
Oh,
Oh, man, watch him out. Harley doing everything he could to not actually take that bump.
Wow, this ring is substantially smaller and more closed in.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore.
Yeah, well, because everybody's doing a dive nowadays, so they give extra space because everybody's diving outside. Although AEW has more of a outfit like this. In fact, it was almost too dangerous before because people were landing like their legs were hitting the bars when they were diving.
I was thinking also fans jumping inside the ring. Had easier access.
Yeah. Well, that was not to say that didn't happen. It happened all the time.
Oh,
There's some pretty crazy wrestling stories about fans getting involved.
mm-hmm.
I love the junkyard dog. I'm blind, but this guy's about to shoot the guy I'm working with.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
yeah.
Oh, man.
He had to decide whether his kayfabe was going to remain alive in the illusion that he was blind or save the guy he's working with. And thankfully, the cops got there in time.
Yeah.
And, oh, that was an interesting arm drag.
Oh, kick to the face.
Sting's not Lucha's greatest achievement, but like the Mexican luchador style with all the hurricanranas and arm drags. And,
Oh, I thought it was wearing a mask, technically.
yeah. Well, that is a big part of it, but just particularly with the style that he was working. Oh, what a DDT!
Oh my God, there's no saying a scorpion. Sting.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. It was finishing move the Stinger Splash. I got a Scorpion Death Lock,
Okay.
Scorpion Death Drop.
Championship event.
You know what I always loved about old films from the 90s? Is when they catch like lights and they do that cool wavy thing.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
that. So it was
Yeah,
great.
the tape distortion that they got from that. And now what is it trying to do? A superplex here?
Oh, man.
Now, leading up. Oh, God.
Oh, nice.
That was interesting. It was like led like a DDT, but ended up like a suplex. That was kind of a weak cover, don't you think?
I'm impressed. I didn't think nobody could ever do that to Big Van Vader.
Not going for the death drop.
I'm gonna step on you.
I'm going for that deathlock, that scorpion deathlock. Doesn't that look familiar?
Oh no, that was Scorpion Deathlock.
But there's so much more match left in this. So, and he did grab the ropes.
Vader able to reach and grab
I mean, he wasn't that far. Go back out, regroup. Babyface is winning. Realizes he can't beat him on his own. This is where Harley Race is going to get involved somehow.
And while the announcer table's super close too.
Oh, Sting crash and burn. That's another way to start getting the heat.
Oh, he jumped right into the middle of
Sting made a major mistake there. He should have kept it in the ring, Ross.
This is probably the best shape that Vader was ever in. Physically, that is.
Get inside. Get inside.
Vader back in the ring. Race said, get back in the ring.
Now, it makes me think that this match was not for a championship after all, because otherwise Ventura would not have said take a count out. Because you can't win the belt with a count out.
Well, it was his mistake, Ross. He had Vader going. He should have stayed in the ring instead of taking it out to the
But it's
floor.
Starrcade, so who's... Oh, God, I feel like these two were the champ at the time at Starrcade.
Is this an exhibition match or is this a title match?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember now, because they didn't cut... they kind of cut that part out. But I didn't see any in-ring... I didn't see any belt come in with either of these guys, did you?
No.
No, I think this is just a one-on-one match. They had a series of title matches back in I think 90 and 91, did Vader and Sting.
Vader can do what he wants.
I almost feel like Ron Simmons was champion at the time here. In Starrcade 92. That was a big splash.
Oh!
And that crash and burn, Sting getting overzealous is what led to the heat spot.
Vader lateral press. Sting able to kick out.
Kick out.
Vader said, as important as it
Harley
was,
pissed.
What do you mean, too?
Harley is he's so respected, deservedly so.
He's busted Vader's mouth.
That's a good pull.
He was known to be a ring general, a king perhaps.
Barely staying. Knocking the paint off of him.
Uh-oh.
No.
Big flip.
Oh, backdrop. Big backdrop.
Beautiful suplex by the big man.
What a suplex.
And Sting is down and thrown.
You're so good. Oh, baby splash. Baby splash. Got him. Got him. Good cover. Oh, bad cover. Oops.
It's gonna slip on.
That can't have been intentional.
Oh, gosh.
Oops. Yeah, Vader's kind of like, all right, well.
He said, ah, spit.
He thought he had it right there. He wanted that right there. Vader's very frustrated with himself on that splash.
It's on the bad headlock. There we go. There we go. I don't know what that other thing was, Vader.
I'll tell you what, and I'll say it again, Jim Ross. Sting made the mistake when he went out to the floor. He had this match, and he took it to the floor, and that was the mistake of mistakes against Big Van Vader.
Submission move.
Oh, no. What a submission hold. Oh, no.
Pulling the
Look
head.
at it, no. Look at this.
Clean man.
Twist
Look at that. Oh, God.
Sting may have to submit right here.
Now with Vader, you don't know how much he's really wrenching that head.
Hair grab.
Vader's going to measure him.
Oh, devastating, but you notice he didn't even hit him. It was like he got his bicep near him, but that wasn't even bad.
What count was that, ref? He's just like, 1, 2.
I think Sting might have kicked
He might
out.
have been better than get pinned. He's going to get hurt now.
They count off better, ref.
Backslide. Time for the backslide. This is like a flurry, but I'm sure that the heat's going to keep going. Oh, I wish we had more of this, JR, and less of the I'm just going to make fun of everything on my show,
To hold
JR,
the
that we have now.
450-pound Vader
Sad.
for a 3
Oh,
count. He got a 2 out of it.
Oh.
Irish whip.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
that flip.
We're doing it.
Oh, he missed. Oh, he missed.
What a great counter.
And I love just how much the fans are reacting every time that Sting gets an advantage somehow. You know, you don't get that anymore.
You got that kind of weight.
You got the Thunderdome. Hooray.
Flat on it.
Oh. Oh.
And again, Vader
Great
measuring
hands.
those
I miss
right
crowds in wrestling.
I mean, a referee has got to
Yeah,
really
there.
use some discretion here.
Like how Harley Race has been holding on to Vader's mask this whole time.
Yeah.
Referee
Make sure he doesn't lose it.
when he don't
Make sure he doesn't lose it.
anymore.
Pretty significant for his mask. Or?
Right in the rib.
Not really.
Here in the
It's
air.
intimidation
Crushed out
mostly.
Sting's body.
It's interesting because in WCW you saw him take it off a little more than he did in the WWF. They really tried to make him keep it on, as opposed to it being kind of a tool of coming off as in this is a tougher fight than I thought. Vader once had a match where his eyeball popped out mid-match and he just went poop and popped it back in and kept going.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, aye.
Yep.
That's got to be
That
just
is
plain
tough dude.
depressing as hell when you
Jeez.
do
Real
the
tough
move and
dude.
the other guy's up first.
Bet he makes a good roast.
And now Sting has got
Oh,
to
he did. Rest in peace, Vader.
endure this 450 over his shoulders,
I'm sure he did, though.
collapsing his lungs. He's
Seems like
not
the guy
able
knows
to
how to cook good food.
deep
Good.
breaths.
Not because he's a big guy, but
But not
It does
not
help.
because he's a big guy.
yeah.
Look at here, Vader measuring those big right.
But you know, it's kind of hard to
hands.
do that when you're traveling on the road all the
He's taking
time.
a lot of
Like
them on
that,
his
300
forearm.
days a year,
Vader
twice on
just pops
Sundays.
in his ears.
Probably.
Yeah, probably have to go out a lot.
If this would be a boxing match, it would be over. But I realize it isn't.
Did he retire or did he?
Look at
He
Reese.
kept wrestling in the
Finish
Indies
him
for a
off.
long time, and then he was told that basically, I think because of diabetes and other health complications, he only had 2 years to live, and he made it like a year and a half, and then he went,
Those forearms are like street
Oh,
and still has not been put into the WWE Hall of Fame for whatever reason.
Sting can hold on.
But yeah, you would have thought that with 2 years left to live, they would have tried to do that while he was there, but
Hey, it worked
Oh,
now.
well.
They work now.
that's WWE for you.
What about Sting? How's he?
Things in the Hall of Fame. He's in AEW staring at people making probably $100,000 an appearance.
Oh wow.
Not even doing anything.
Is he wearing like the?
Wearing the face paint. Oh yeah, I do. Yep. Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. 61 years old, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know where
Really?
61.
How old was he?
Well, this was in the early 90s, so he's probably mid-30s.
Oh.
But Sting had started wrestling in like I think 80. I mean, in the early 80s, definitely, but like started wrestling WCW wise and on a bigger main basis, probably in the 86-ish area, maybe in 85, really 86-ish, and then he had been groomed by Ric Flair mostly, and then eventually won the world title in '89 in a whole series. Well, then it was supposed to go to Sting, and then Sting got hurt, so then Flair promised to drop the title to Sting, so Luger got it, but then Flair got it back, and then eventually Flair did drop it to Sting, and Sting got healthy again.
Come on. He's taking every shot. That player get this out. Look at him.
The Sting begging him to keep fighting.
I think he's crazy.
I mean, even that, just asking for more got a reaction from the crowd.
He is, as he said, he wanted to survive it. And take him as far
See,
as
this is
he
the kind of
can
stuff
go.
that still makes it look like a
Maybe
fight.
Vader will punch out.
You don't get that with the gymnastic routines
They have
nowadays,
to
you
rely
know?
on
I'll tell you, Vader's punches are getting weaker.
Maybe he's fatiguing a little.
Oh, he hit the bell.
Hey, that's
He
rude.
went pop.
That is rude.
Taking himself.
He popped the
Another
ref.
That is rude.
Let's see.
This is Sting's comeback. He's finally had enough getting his little Hulk in, this Hulk up in.
He caught him again. A
Big guy
third
looked like
one.
he's getting tired.
Gasping for air now himself. His right hand takes him down.
Oh man, all his face masks.
Right, yeah, oh yeah, that's notorious with Sting. His face, that's kind of the thing with face paint though, because it's like, it always comes off. It never stays on like ever, you know, because you're sweating all the time, you know,
Always
it gets hit
looking
on
up.
that. And oh man, Samoan Dre tried to get a body slam, but he was a little too heavy.
Oh, messy, like,
Vader's in the ropes.
But that's okay because it still looks like a struggle.
Yeah,
It still looks like a fight, like he had to struggle to do it.
Oh yeah, probably feeling the muscle fatigue.
Yeah. And at least looks believable in a fight context,
Yeah. Oh, he kicked. He's not going yet. Big guy's like, I'm not going.
Now Harley Race is getting pissed. Ref distraction, Sting distraction. Vader goes in and hits. Oh, I think he might have actually hit Harley on the top of the head. Where he got real close.
Well, Sting shouldn't have fell for it. You should forget about
But of course, that was tactically done by Harley Race. Gets Sting distracted. Vader back in control. Choke slam.
Oh, he's like it's over.
Moonsault. He's going for the moonsault.
He's going on.
Or maybe just a big splash.
Oh, no.
Big splash. Not exactly the Vader bomb. Oh, God.
Vader caught it. He wanted to hook it, and Vader's the impact of Vader hit Sting. He bounced right off of it, but he drilled the Stinger right into the canvas 2 times. In this
Props to Sting selling here because he does look hurt.
It's big splash, and he is frustrated.
Well, he's going up for a 3rd time.
Oh no, you gotta mess yourself over doing that. Don't go up there.
Shouldn't do it.
You shouldn't
Shouldn't do it.
You should look in the drop.
Look at, he's getting up.
He's getting up.
He's getting up, and look at the fans
you
pop.
should- Look at that. Oh,
And
he got counted.
all right.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, that was a whole series. Wait a second here.
Oh, that was fast.
Wait a second. His shoulders, both of his shoulders were up.
He said,
And the
1,
camera
2,
directly in the camera saw it.
so
Wait a
fast.
second. There's so much here to digest.
Oh, ref.
That was, I get the idea, but the execution was wicked sloppy there.
Ref, I'm throwing a baseball
Wicked
for your
sloppy.
guy.
He went for the jump and the power slam, I get. That was a little rough, but I get it. They caught him. And then what I don't understand,
Wow.
as that match concludes,
Woo. No
what I
ads.
don't get,
We didn't any ads.
yeah, with no ads at all.
Woo.
You know why? Because it's not a WWE video. So
Oh,
props to this guy for putting that in.
look
But
at
you know
that.
what the thing is? It's like, that was probably intended to be a cleaner finish where he got the roll up. Vader's shoulders didn't get up, but Vader's shoulders clearly got up. I mean, you saw it. They rolled it up, and then it was just a bad camera shot.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, I think this was going to lead to more matches with him later because a roll up is never really a feud ender, especially with a baby face kind of escaping it out. But there's
Because they'll be
obviously-
all like, I'm going to beat you. I'm this. I can't
Yeah.
believe you beat me such a man-to-panda way.
well, what that does is it does give the healing out and saying like his shoulders were never on the ground, so I demand a rematch because that was not a fair victory, leading to a return match. Sell more tickets later. That's the business, folks. That is the business. So, AB,
Showbiz.
this was your first match of the week. What are your thoughts?
That was cool. That was really cool to watch the old school match and just like the nostalgia of all
And the
that.
pacing of it all, it's like it's so much different than everybody jumping and flipping and going around and doing a routine.
Yeah, and just the ring construction is so like close in that
Yeah.
everyone's like real close and cornered.
Yeah, and even it's a shame that more of this couldn't have been adapted to a modern era, and we could have gotten like Vince McMahon's really over the top character style, and then have this kind of style.
Is that ring smaller than the now ring?
Could be by a little bit. There have been some people who have used 16 by 16s. I think industry standard right now is 20 by 20. I think.
It's a big change in
And-
size, 4 inches.
And
4
4 square feet, yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's huge.
well, the really interesting thing, and there are also some places that do like 12 by 12.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really interesting way that they do it. Depends on the place. Fun fact: the canvases, a lot of the ones that WWE use are actually blue, but the way that iris opens up and they frame the shots, it appears a lot whiter than it actually is. But it's actually closer to the color of my jeans,
Oh,
maybe even a little darker
cool.
than that. So, fun facts you're going to get every day here, folks. This is just the live stream. Of course, we've got the Core Martial podcast, the actual podcast tomorrow, with, of course, our co-host Skylar Greenberg. So stay tuned for that. I am your Colonial Champion, Chum McCarty. Abizzle,
Yo, I'm Abizzle. Thanks for having me, man.
thanks for showing up, and
Hell
we will
yeah.
see you tomorrow for the Core Martial podcast. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
See you next time.